Back for poker video with Ciara McLean, expert poker analysis. Today we got something special. What I did is I looked up some interesting hands on the YouTube.
Okay.
So today we're going to put you in the seat as Phil Ivey. Do you know who Phil Ivey is?
No, I'm reading your post.
Well, don't read it now.
It's so
got
sweet.
work to do here.
Okay.
Do you know who Phil Ivey is?
No.
Phil Ivey, arguably the greatest poker player of all time. Arguably. You could throw Phil Ivey in the ground with people like that in that category, but Phil Ivey's one of the greatest. So today, he gets put in a tough spot. So we're going to play as Phil Ivey, or not Phil Ivey, Phil Hellmuth. We're going to play as Phil Hellmuth and see what Ciara would do in this case.
Are we talking about Phil Ivey or Phil Hellmuth?
Phil Hellmuth. You're going to be Phil Hellmuth.
Against Phil Ivey?
No, against a random guy.
So do we have to start this all over because you messed up the name?
No. I'm perfect. We don't start over. All right. What do you think? Think you can? Do you think you'll make the right decision? Do you think you'll make the Phil Hellmuth decision?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Phil Hellmuth?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Let's see what you got. All right, so here we are. I think I muted it. All right, this is Phil Hellmuth's hand, and he is playing a cash game. And this is called the big game, and the premise of this is all the big guys get together, but there's one amateur player that they invite, and they give that amateur player, I don't know, $50,000 or $100,000, and whatever the amateur player keeps or wins, he gets to keep, right? So in this particular hand, Phil Hellmuth will be heads up with that amateur player, right? So I think you should have the information that Phil Hellmuth has when you make your decisions here. So the guy he's up against is just like we are, like a recreational player. So Phil, pre-flop, it doesn't show it on the YouTube video, but pre-flop, the action goes Phil Hellmuth raises, and our villain in this hand, our amateur player, just calls. And Phil will be first to act. So the button's somewhere in the middle, but Phil's going to be first to act right here. You'll see we have ace-5 offsuit is what we have. Phil Hellmuth has. Okay. And so the first clip we come to here is the flop. But pre-flop, Phil raises, our guy just calls, and we go to a flop. All right? So that's where we start here. Let's go to the flop and see what happens. All right, so good flop for us. We flop top pair. Let's see what we do here. Well, I hope I didn't screw that up. Anyway, okay. What would you do there? Ace-5. Not a hand we want to play, right? Ace-5 of offsuit. But Phil plays this hand. He's better than us. What do we know?
He checks.
He checks. But, I mean, I hit the wrong pause button. But what would you do? Ace-5, you flop top pair, three-way. I don't know if you saw that. The other guy folded real quick, but.
Okay. What would I do right there?
Yeah. You're out of position. You're first to act. What would you do?
I don't know. I would just do a continuation bet, and I would bet that.
Okay, yeah, because he did raise pre-flop, right? Yeah. And that smashes a pre-flop better range.
But also,
he did not see bet.
I know, but also, I was just thinking of, he's probably playing that he didn't hit his hand. That's the psychology of me. That's why he checked it. Or he's going to check raise.
Oh, so playing the check raise?
Yeah.
So I think he's got a big card here. He's got the ace of clubs, right? So there's the club draw out there. You see the jack deuce. He's got the nut club draw, backdoor nut club. So I think that comes into play a little bit, what he's thinking. So he does a check, and our amateur, who is Fishman here, he decides to bet 3,000. All right. So I mean, he got a piece of it, right? What do you think? He's not the pre-flop raiser. He just called pre-flop, but he obviously got a piece of this. So what do you think? This guy bet you, and now it's back on you. Bets 3,000 into a pot of about 3,000. So
I'm going to assume what he has right now. I think he has clubs.
Okay.
I think
To
he's
bet? Okay.
to bet. I think he's on a club draw,
Okay.
or he's got an ace as well.
That's not good for us because we got a bad ace.
I know.
All right, let's see what happens. So it checks back to Phil, who does raise. You did your check raise right there. Good call. Good call.
My favorite thing to do.
So I think Phil got what he wanted here. He wants to be in the hand with the amateur guy. So he checked the amateur bet, but Phil knows the amateur's not betting with nothing here, right? So he knows he's probably got something similar to what you thought, like a club draw or a big ace. But Phil, I think, is raising here. Why do you think he's raising? Why do you think Phil?
I think he's trying to get him to trap him and
trap him.
I think. I don't know.
With ace five trap?
I don't know.
I think Phil is raising to see where he's at, right? So the guy bet, and Phil has a weak ace, and by raising, he's figuring out like
how he bets and like if he just calls.
Exactly. If he just calls, he probably doesn't have a set. He probably doesn't have ace king or ace queen. Maybe he just calls with ace king, ace queen here because it is kind of a weddish board. But he wants to see where he's at a little bit more because if the amateur has a set, you're coming back over the top quickly. So he can narrow those hands out to just either a big ace or, like you said, clubs here. Okay, see where we're at. So he raises, doubles it to 6,000. The Pat and Ciara double the bet there.
Please don't call.
And so our amateur does just call. I think, right? Yep. Okay. Boom. Boom. We hit our 2 pair right there, okay? So we see Phil reaching for chips there, but now we're feeling a lot better about our hand. Feeling a lot better.
But he did it immediately.
Well, he hit our 2 pair. I think he was firing on the next card no matter what. Yeah. That could be a deuce of diamonds, a 9 of spades or something. He's firing.
Okay.
Because you got to keep up the aggression after you just 3-bet or check raise the guy. So, all right. So look at our pot size, $15,000. How much do you think we should bet here?
As Phil?
Yeah, as Phil. Because we're about to bet right now. Phil Ivey's about to bet. Let's talk about some bet sizing.
I don't know anything about bet sizing, but if it were me...
Well, let's just say that's $15 in the pot. What would you bet?
$10.
Okay, yeah, about 60% a pot. Let's see what Phil Ivey decides to bet here, because we want to charge Phil Hellmuth. We want to charge that big ace, right? Right now we're hoping he has ace king or ace queen, right? So let's see what he bets here. He bets the full pot. He bet 15,000 full pot, right? So he's hoping he has ace king or queen, and he wants clubs to fold, right? So that's a pretty good bet, I think, right? Because ace king or queen's gonna call, but the club. But the clubs are probably full, right? Because you're not getting the right odds with clubs, right?
Hi. Are you pressing pause?
Hi, Layla.
Hi. How was your man? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to do this video and we'll be right there, okay? Okay.
Do you want to help? No? Okay. All right, so now our amateur has a decision. Well, I mean, we don't know what he has, but he's obviously thinking here. It's not an easy decision. So, full pot size bet. Let's see what he does, right? Let's see what he does. I don't think I got the sound turned on, so I don't think he says anything too important. He just looks like he's generally has a tough decision here to make. We're putting some pressure on him. Let's see what he does here. All right, he just calls. Calls 15,000. All right, we're looking pretty good right now. All right, 10 of hearts. So that, the clubs didn't get there. That's good. Ace 10. Does he have ace 10 there? Probably not, right? So I think that's a pretty good card. Well, what do you think? What do you think? You feel?
I mean, if he has a king queen, he's got. Let's see.
Yeah, the king queen would be a straight, but that would be unlikely to call you down with king queen.
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, would you bet again if you're Phil, or what would you think?
If I was Phil? Yeah. I mean, of course you're going to show... Yeah, he's going to bet again, obviously.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, he reaches for chips. $45,000 pot. See how much he bets.
23,600.
Bets
Okay, so I'm going to have you put on the headphones here so you can hear what he says. Ready?
Yep.
All right.
23-6.
He bets half pot.
23,600 into a $45,000 pot.
Check out the body language and what he says here. Check this out. This is something you'll come across. Cut that out.
I'm not going to let you do this to me again, Phil. I can't let you do this to me again. I'm all in.
Fishman shoves.
Fishman shoves his whole stack, $100,000 into you now.
Yep.
You can see Phil's not happy.
Yep.
All right. Decision time. You're Phil Hellmuth here. You got your entire stack on the line. What are you thinking? What do you do?
I mean, that would be a stupid thing that would be stupid for him to go all in if he knows he only has 2 pair.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Who are you talking about?
Phil Hellmuth.
Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
So you think it'd be stupid for him to call? Because so the guy bet him.
Yeah.
Right? So now he has to call if he wants.
Right.
Okay. So you don't think he should call?
No.
Well, what do you think the guy has?
He has to have a set.
A set?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why didn't he show more aggression on the flop with a set? Or what? Because I mean, Phil could have like ace king of clubs, right? Don't you want that hand?
But maybe he has a low set like the 2s.
Okay, but still, I think that's just as effective as jacks.
But I mean, that's why I wouldn't be that aggressive with like a low set like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think.
What did you think about what he was saying there? His body language and what he said and all that stuff.
Yeah, the bet sizing, he did not bet enough. He bet $30,000 into a $70,000 pot.
You picked up on that.
Yeah.
So he bet half pot, and you think maybe the amateur picked up on that and is check raising him to get Phil to fold? Ooh, that's tricky. That'd be tricky if the remember, this is a recreational player betting with. I mean, it's not his money, but you're betting with his money. All right, we're back. So you picked up on Phil did a lightish bet on the river. Probably looking to get just a call from ace king or something, you know, from if the guy did have ace king. But they get shoved on. All right. But you're right. Maybe the amateur picked up on that. Like, oh, Phil's not too comfortable with his hand. A shove here might work. But now the ball's back at Phil Hellmuth's court. And you're Phil Hellmuth here. You've got ace 5, 2 pair. What do you do? Do you pick up on the amateur trying to bluff you? Or does he really have a big hand? Does he have the set of 2s or jacks or 10s or king, queen? Or what do you, ace 10 maybe? I don't know. What do you think? What do you do for your stack here?
If I were Phil, I would fold.
Okay.
But I know he's not going to fold.
He's the greatest player in the world.
If I were him,
why would you fold? What's your reasoning, though? What was your, not just because you can't just say because it's a lot of money.
I think the amateur player does have a strong hand here.
Okay. But
even if it's a low set, or yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or he probably has ace jack.
I think you might have heard from him before now if he had ace jack.
Okay. Well, that's what I think.
So fold just because you believe him.
Yeah.
You think he's got a better hand than you?
I don't think the amateur is bluffing.
Okay, so let's put the headphones back on.
Okay.
Let's see what Phil says here and what he thinks. I think I blurred out the sound, but watch the amateur here. Watch it. Keep an eye on the body language and what he does, and you'll be able to pick this up at our games that we go to too.
This is so sick. I mean, is it possible that I just get cooled every hand I play here?
Look at that body language.
This guy's so nervous.
So you say he's nervous. What does that lead you to believe? Like you're reading that he's nervous right now.
Yeah.
That's what you're reading.
Yeah.
So Why would he be nervous with like?
I don't know. He just went all in. That's why he's nervous.
I mean, it's $100,000. I get it. So you're not reading as nervous because he's bluffing.
No,
you're
I'm
just
reading it like, this is a lot of money. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See what Phil does. Look at that violently shaking.
He's like, I have a wife and kids.
All right, cool.
Hellmuth calls and sees king, queen of clubs.
King,
got
queen
the
of clubs.
Straight.
Hit the straight.
Oh,
Yeah.
I said it too, didn't I?
You did say it. You said, yeah, he's got a club draw. I think what made Phil call here was the turn. When Phil bet almost pot size on the turn, like I don't forget what it was, $30,000 or something on the turn. He did not think he would call with his hand, king, queen of clubs. I blurted out, but he actually says, "I guess you got king, queen of clubs here." I didn't want to leave that in there for you, but he actually says that. So you would have made the correct decision though, and Phil Ivey, I've said that 10 times.
Yeah.
Phil Hellmuth ended up making the wrong decision and losing $100,000 in his hand.
He should have folded.
Should have folded. I think I would have folded too, but he was obviously, if we asked him about this hand, he's probably got some in-depth analysis on why he called. You know what I mean? Like he knows he's got the ace of clubs, the pot size bet on the turn. I don't think clubs calls me there. But also what I want you to pick up on, you haven't mentioned it yet, is that guy's body language and the way he was acting. Like, when he gave Phil the speech, like, "Oh, I can't let you do this to me again, Phil. Oh, I'm all in." Like, people do that at our games all the time, and they always have the nuts. So when people give you the speech and then raise you or something, they've got a good hand.
Okay.
Always, always. So that guy, like, the commentators were even saying it. I had to blur that out, too. But the commentators like, give this guy a Grammy for what is it? What is actors? I forget. Whatever. Grammys.
Oscars.
Yeah. Oscars. Give this guy an Oscar for his performance here because the guy like just Hollywooded it up so bad. So when people are like, "Oh my God, I don't know what you have here," blah 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 blah. I guess I'm all in. LeVar does it. Everybody does it all the time. So be wary of that. And you didn't say anything about it, but that's why I left his speech and stuff in there, is I wanted you to pick up on, this guy's giving him a speech. Can't have that.
Okay, and not a lot of people bluff.
Well, not an amateur playing at $100,000.
Yeah.
I don't think he's bluffing there.
No.
But yeah, okay. So you would have made the right call at least.
Okay.
Maybe for the wrong reasons, but you would have made the right call. And the right fold, I should say. But yeah, I think the guy's speech gave his hand away at the end, but Phil just couldn't let it go. Maybe a little. I can't get bluffed by the amateur on TV type of thing too, but not Phil's day right there. He goes on a little rant here.
See,
all
if
right.
a club comes.
So that was our hand analysis for Phil Hellmuth. So I guess it's safe to say you're a better poker player than Phil Hellmuth now, right?
I am. I can play him now.
Now you're ready for the big games.
Okay.
All right, until next time.